In this video, I want to actually look at some applications. We really didn't get much time in the last few parts to do applications, so let's go ahead and do that and apply some of our fraction skills. So these are examples 4 and 5 from page 75 in your text. And number 4 looks like this. So it says, Mary took 1/2 ounce of Maalox at breakfast, 1/2 ounce at lunch, and 3/4 of an ounce at dinner. Question is this more or less than 1/4 cup of medication? So here our information is starting in ounces, but we're trying to figure out how that relates to cups. And notice that we're looking at the total really here. So they're asking us, is this, but they mean all together, right? Is this more or less than 1/4 of a cup? So the first thing I'm going to do before I convert it over is I'm going to add these all up. So I'm going to stay in ounces for a second here. And I'm going to go ahead and find that total. So I'm looking at 1/2, 1/2, and 3/4. Now remember, when you're adding and subtracting, you do need common denominators. So in this case, I could use a denominator of 4 here. So the 1/2 I do have to change over. And if you can do that in your head, feel free. It's a multiplication of 2 here. So we see that 1/2 is the same thing as 2/4. Let's make that a little darker. So each 1/2 changes over to 2/4, and then you also have the 3/4. So 2 and 2 is 4 plus 3 is 7. So you have 7/4, which is the same thing as 1 3/4. Another thing you could do to add here is recognize that, a half plus a half is 1 whole. So there's your 1 3/4. So it's another way you could have added this one, where it just happens to be a pretty easy addition. So once we have our ounces, now I'm going to go from my ounces to cups. So if I go back to my chart here, I see that 1 cup has 8 ounces. So when I go from cups to ounces, I'm multiplying by 8. This time we're reversing the order though. We're going from ounces to cups. So instead of multiplying by 8, if I'm going the other way, I'm going to divide by 8. So I'm going to take that 1 3/4 or that 7/4, and I'm going to divide it by 8. Remember, when you're multiplying or dividing, you do need to work with improper fractions. So that's why I use the 7/4 there. The same as 8/1. We change to multiplication, and then remember, we flip or take the reciprocal of that second fraction. This becomes 7/32. Now that's actually simplified 7/32. There's no factors in common between the numerator and denominator. So this becomes 7/32 cups in total for the day. Now the question was a little bit different, right? The question says, is this more or less than 1/4 of a cup? So I'm trying to compare this. I'm saying, okay, is 7/32 more or less than 1/4? So is this greater than, is this less than? How do we compare this? And I'll tell you that when you're comparing fractions, you do need common denominators. Okay, so that is really important. So I am going to have to change this over. I can use 32 here, because what happens with the 1/4 is I can multiply that by 8 to get the 32. So this becomes 8/32 instead. Get some darker colors. Let's see. Let's try this blue. So now we can see that 1/4 is the same thing as 8/32. And so this value is actually smaller, right? The 7 is smaller. So once I have common denominators, I can just compare the numerators. So the amount of medication that Mary took is less than the 1/4 of a cup. So not by much, right? Only by 1/32, but it is less than. So she is taking less than that right there. Next, let's look at question 5. I like this one as well. So a mail order company likes to dispense orders in 120-day supplies. If Mary takes half a tablet 3 times a day, how many tablets would she need to fill 105? I like this question as well. I think it's really applicable, excuse me. I know a lot of time if I have to get medication, sometimes I have to send away for it by mail, certain ones, and they send that to me in a 3-month supply, for instance. Or if I'm shopping for my pets, I often get their flea and tick medication in multiple month supplies. So I think this is, again, a nice applicable problem to what we're doing. So let's read it one more time. A mail order company likes to dispense orders in 120-day supplies. Mary takes a half tablet 3 times a day. How many tablets would she need to fill a 120-day supply? So the first thing I'm going to do here is figure out just one day. So I see that she takes a half a tablet 3 times a day. So we're doing half a tablet times 3, right? Maybe once in the morning, afternoon, and night. So I'm going to multiply. There's nothing to cancel here, so I'm going to multiply this straight across. And I see that I get 3 halves tablets. If you change this to mixed number, it's 1.5. So a little over 1 tablet a day, right? 1.5. And then now I want to change this 120 days, this one day, excuse me, into 120 days. So I'll take my 3 halves there and now multiply by 120. I can do some cross canceling, so I can divide both of these by 2. This one was the better one. There we go. So I have a 1 there, and 120 divided by 2 is 60. So we're multiplying straight across here. 3 times 60 is 180. 1 times 1 is 1. So we just have 180. Now remember, what were you trying to find here, right? We're trying to find the number of tablets for 180 days. So we would dispense to Mary 180 tablets. Or if she was the one receiving the medication and she wanted to double check, she should be receiving 180 tablets for 120 days. Anything less, she will run out, right, before her prescription is up for refill. So definitely something to watch out for, and making sure that dosage is correct and that the prescription is then correctly filled for that patient.